Then I took a smidge and applied it down there.
This one's wife. Markle and Peltz. They just don't get it. Hello, I'm hgtudor. Regular viewers of this channel know that this one's wife frequently appears by virtue of the fact that people like to hear about her, and she is the grift that keeps on grifting in terms of the provision of material to explain her narcissism and the necessity of continuing to explain why she behaves as she does, because there are still plenty of people who don't fully understand that she's a narcissist and that's what's driving her behaviour. I also analysed Nicola Peltz Beckham, and, spoiler alert ahead, if you haven't watched that series and you'd like to make a determination as to what she is, may I suggest that you pause this video now and return to it in due course. For those of you that have access to the series, you will know that following scrutinisation of the evidence, I determined that she is a narcissist. Thus, this one's wife and Nicola Peltz Beckham have been ascertained as narcissists. This means that in their interactions with other people and prospective interactions, they pursue the prime aims. Furthermore, there are parallels in their behaviour, the way, for instance, that they both isolated their spouses from their immediate family. Notwithstanding the evidence that supports this, there are still those who fail to understand what they are actually looking at. And an article in Metro states, like many a father and son before them, Brooklyn and David Beckham are going through a rough patch. The footballer celebrated his 50th last weekend with a swanky do at a London restaurant with famous friends, Tom Cruise, Eva Longoria, a couple of Spice Girls, and all the family, minus his eldest Brooklyn. Naturally, speculation around Brooklyn's absence has been rife, particularly as the aspiring chef was in London at the time of David's third and final Big Bash. But the reaction to the feud by fans and critics feels unnervingly similar to another famous family fallout, which sparked an equally misogynistic backlash: Prince Harry's separation from the royal family. Now, pausing there, this commentator fails to understand that these women are narcissists, and a key aspect of the modus operandi of the narcissist to gain control is often isolating the spouse, which in my terminology I call the intimate partner primary source, from their family. Why? Well, first of all, the intimate partner primary source is chosen by the narcissist because this is the person that is the easiest to control, who also provides plenty of fuel, the most fuel, character traits and residual benefits. In other words, they are the holy grail of what the narcissist needs. In order to allow the narcissist to drink deep of those things, they must monopolize the time of the intimate partner primary source, which means they can't have them spending lots of time with family and friends, because then the narcissist isn't getting what they are entitled to receive. Thus, isolating that intimate partner primary source from family and friends is necessary to allow the narcissist to drink deep of what is required. Furthermore, it is often the case that family members will identify that there's something not quite right about the person who is the narcissist. They may not recognize them initially as a narcissist, although I have noticed that as a consequence of my work, there is an upturn in those that are now recognizing suspect spouses who've married into the family. But usually, people don't tend to notice that the person is a narcissist, but they do recognize that there's something isn't right. They notice a change in the behavior of their son, daughter, brother, sister, whoever it might be, who has married the narcissist. They perhaps find that their relationship has become strained with them, that they don't spend as much time together as they once did, that there are fallings out and arguments. Naturally, things do change when somebody enters marriage, that you will no longer be their focus, and of course, there are instances where family members may be somewhat jealous of the family member who's married because they feel that they've lost them to the other person. But usually, when a narcissist is involved, it isn't those factors which are hugely relevant. Instead, it's the fact that them being able to see through the behaviour of the narcissist, identify there's something wrong, something not quite right about the way that they're behaving, well, this naturally is perceived by the narcissist as a threat to control. And as a consequence of that, the response of the narcissist is to isolate the prize, the intimate partner primary source, from these interfering influences, namely family members, also friends, so that they cannot interfere with the narcissist's hold over the prize. The chief way of doing so is isolation. And, as I've explained in the past, this one's wife did it with Harry by taking him across the ocean to Canada and then to California. I predicted she would do that, and it happened. Similarly, we have seen Nicola Peltz isolating Brooklyn Beckham from his family. However, this individual thinks that people's criticism is based on misogyny, when it's not. It's based upon people not liking what they're seeing. And the fact is that it provides an excuse for the narcissist, which the narcissist would lap up, as to why they've done what they've done. No, we're just spending time together, and all of these people that are criticising us, well, they're just misogynists or racists or haters, which obscures what's really going on. And narcissists love obscuring things. Narcissists love the smoke. They love the fog of war. They love the shifting sands, because that makes it easier to control people when there's confusion in the air. The article continues by explaining that this one's wife became a panto villain for millions when that happened, and now Brooklyn's wife, Nicola Peltz, is taking the brunt of the blame here. The truth is, we have no idea what has caused a rift in the Beckham family, but Peltz has been accused of being trouble since she tied the knot with Brooklyn back in 2022. Well, the point is that when you've identified that someone behaves as a narcissist, it does provide us with a rather reliable guide as to how they will behave towards other people. After all, the popularity of my work and the many thousands of people who consulted with me who found that I've been able to predict the behaviour of the narcissist in order to assist the victim will bear testament to the model, if you will, of understanding the narcissistic dynamic provides you to predict what will happen and explain why things have happened. Their wedding was plagued, the article continues, by feud rumours after Nicola wore 3 outfits on the big day, and none of them were designed by her now mother-in-law Victoria Beckham. Granted, many would kill for a couture gown by one of the most celebrated designers in the world, and more importantly, an actual Spice Girl. But Nicola wasn't obliged to walk down the aisle in a custom-made VB original. No, she wasn't. But bear in mind that she sees Victoria Beckham as an interfering influence. In effect, by not choosing one of her gowns, she was issuing a silent treatment towards Victoria Beckham and malignly triangulating her with the wedding gown. The speculation was only fuelled further. Nicola and Brooklyn started skipping family events, although none quite as significant as his father's 50th. They did spend Boxing Day at Shez Beckham, and it appeared to be a love fest that made their family look close. They took a photo in front of their Christmas tree, all in festive black outfits, with Victoria captioning the pic, "Being together for the holidays makes me so happy. I love you all so much," and tagging everyone, including Nicola. Peltz replied, "I love you all so much." Now, at that juncture, of course, Victoria Beckham, in putting up such a picture and including Peltz and talking about "I love you all so much," demonstrates that she's under control, which allows Peltz to respond in a similar way by offering flattery. However, this article states, 5 months on, it's hard to argue that there's trouble in paradise. That facade of a picture-perfect family has been broken. But why, when no one has any concrete evidence, is the blame automatically thrown at Nicola? Earlier this week, Piers Morgan directly compared Nicola to this one's wife, who he claimed, without any rhyme or reason whatsoever, is milking Prince Harry dry. Well, again, the author of this article fails to understand that this one's wife is doing that, and Piers Morgan is correct. I've explained elsewhere that Piers Morgan is a narcissist as well, But he can use the truth as you understand it to be to make a point which serves a purpose for him. In the same way that I tell you the truth about narcissists, it serves my purposes to do so. The narcissist will tell you the truth, sometimes the half-truth, and often nowhere near the truth. But the narcissist can use the truth. But this author just doesn't get it. He fails to recognise that these two women are narcissists, and this is why their behaviour is being called out. So Piers Morgan explained that this one's wife was milking Prince Harry dry, and added Brooklyn Beckham's wife is doing it to him now. This author suggests that implying Nicola's motivations are financial was pretty bizarre, considering her father is worth an estimated £1.6 billion, dwarfing her in-laws' own not exactly modest £425 million fortune. But it's not necessarily just about milking dry financially. You can milk the victim dry of their self-esteem, their relationships, their confidence, their self-worth. And that is what a narcissist does. Everything is game for the narcissist to extract from you. Everything is there to be taken. Everything is there to be used by the narcissist because you are an appliance. The article continues by stating, regardless, it's the same old story of a woman being criticised, being blamed for her husband's decisions. But even taking money out of it completely, it's clear that, like with this one's wife, critics who know absolutely nothing about this feud are so quick to blame the wife. Brooklyn may not be capable of making a decent bacon sandwich, but he is a 26-year-old man capable of making up his own mind. He is, but once again this author fails to understand the hold that a narcissist places over the intimate partner primary source, how it is as if a spell has been cast upon them. Those of you who've been involved with narcissists and are now free of them will look back upon those early stages and will often not recognise yourself. You will have engaged in behaviours which are alien to you, which probably make you shudder when you look back on them. But the point is, you still did them. And why? Because of the manipulations that you were subject to, and in some instances the presence of emotional thinking. The fact is, the narcissist is to blame, and this author just thinks it's a simple case of lazy individuals automatically saying, oh, there's a rift between the man and his family, it must be the wife's fault. Well, given the fact that we've identified that these two women are narcissists, it is their fault. Because as I explained earlier in this video, this is a classic narcissistic manipulation. Isolate the intimate partner primary source from their family. It happens time and time again. It is textbook, and it is done for the purposes of control. It is quite clear that both of these narcissists have engaged in that behaviour to monopolise their use of the intimate partner primary source and to keep them away from perceived interfering influences. It is not misogynistic to blame the wife. We're not blaming the wives, we're blaming the narcissists. But authors such as this just don't get it, making my work all the more important. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.